You can kind of have a lizard as a pet, and some of them are more social than others. But, you know, to really have a pet, it has to be a mammal. And it's even better if it's a social mammal, like a dog, because, you know, you can understand dogs and they can understand you because they're hierarchical animals and they have the same, roughly, the same set of biological functions that you do. You know, their brains are organized around smell and not around vision. And almost all animals are like that, except for people and maybe hunting birds. You know, so that's one thing that really distinguishes us from dogs. But we're similar enough in our embodied behavior so that we can directly relate to dogs, and you know, they can even play. And play is a circuit. You might say, well, animals aren't conscious. It's like, well, you know, here's the thing. You know, what people normally think is that humans are different than other animals, and so before you anthropomorphize an animal, you should be careful. But I think that's complete rubbish. I think it's exactly the opposite. Before you assume that humans have attributes that animals don't, you have to prove it. Because there's continuity. Tremendous, tremendous continuity. And so it's right to anthropomorphize animals. What's wrong is to presume a priori that humans are qualitatively different.
Then you think, well, the nature of experience is quite different for different sorts of creatures. And one of the primary differences between creatures is the degree to which they're capable of social interaction and then of complex social interaction. And primates, generally speaking, are very social creatures. They live in troops or packs, like dogs, which is why we can get along with dogs, because we understand each other. Being hierarchical troop animals, we understand dogs and they understand us, and they can fit right in pretty much. I think the simplest thing to do is to assume that animals and human beings are the same, except when you can prove that they're different, because we share so much of our evolutionary past that the logical inference is that if you think a dog is doing something that's sort of like you would do in that situation, and feeling that way, it probably is, with certain exceptions for species difference. And if that wasn't the case, I don't think that you could have a relationship with a dog or cat. You can't have much of a relationship with a lizard, although there are lizards, bearded dragons in particular, that are social. They like to lay on top of each other and they hang around together, and you can actually have more of a relationship with them, and apparently the same is true of iguanas. So you can go quite a ways back in the evolutionary, backwards in evolutionary time, and still have enough similarity between you and the creature that you're interacting with so that you can get a pretty good sense of at least some element of their being.